Good afternoon. This is Speak On It. I'm Malik. Today, we continue our series in collaboration with the Westside Heroin and Opioid Task Force and looking at some other issues, but tonight I want to be a little more content focused. We need to put a little more research behind the conversation. So we're going to do that. But as we go, we'll look at some other issues, but we just want you to follow this because it's really not new. And you're going to see some connections here tonight as it relates to the Chicago Heroin Expressway and how that expressway, I guess almost 10 or 12 years ago, was hopping and popping from Chicago to Cincinnati. Then you're going to see something else here that shows another pattern. And I think for me, and that's why you hear me compliment LaShawn Ford regularly, he saw it in 2016. He saw that it was too much for his community, for his district. But now I think we have to deal with what's real. Now that the governor has signed this executive order, this has become a statewide initiative. The president signed what he signed, so it's a national initiative. I ain't gonna get off into these people business about what they should call it, but when I'm talking, I am not just talking about Austin and Garfield. I'm talking about everywhere there is a problem with people that need harm reduction, people that need recovery, people that need resources. Another thing, and I want you all to call in if you're there, but I know you ain't there, it's 5 o'clock, but the number is 312-738-1060. We talked about it a little bit, the governor talked about it because it was a part of the executive order. The heroin consumption smoke houses, you understand me? The dope houses. They talk about secondhand tobacco can give you cancer. I wonder what can contact highs give you. I guess crazy like the one that's smoking it, huh? So now they're going to add a damn dope house to a smoke house to a what? The jailhouse. Let me leave that alone. But anyhow, this is your opportunity to call in here and speak on it. Get it out of your head, get it in the air, get it into somebody else's ear. And maybe it'll make a difference for you and for them. But brother, come on with the first piece about how this thing is affecting them children. And we'll just roll it, and I'll let you know when I think we got enough. Yes, sir, brother. God damn.
Pritzker has just set aside a $4.1 million to help fight Illinois' opioid crisis.
Well, I can't hear it, so I guess it's all right.
In those efforts are consumption sites, which are sparking some controversy. Fox Illinois' Nikki McGee joining us live with more on that plan. Nikki?
These sites would give opioid users access to a safe place to use their opioids on top of things like clean needles and syringes. The whole goal, obviously, would be harm reduction. However, not everybody thinks this is a good idea.
The state of Illinois is working to promote safer opioid use with 4 planned supervised consumption sites. These centers will focus on making sure people are using clean needles, have access to recovery information, and be around someone who could get them help if there was an overdose.
And the idea is that they are trapped in position, like many people are with other types of addiction, and we should try to help them navigate their addiction as best we can so that they don't die.
Local health officials say they've seen success with these centers in larger cities, which is why they recommend trying them out in Chicago first.
In larger cities in California and Chicago, I think they can have a greater success and start a trend, get a good model going.
But not everyone is on board with the idea. The Illinois Sheriff's Association tells us they hadn't heard about these consumption sites until we brought it to their attention.
We as a society, and especially in law enforcement, are trying to get people to quit using this. and it appears that we are just going to perpetuate it and encourage the continued use of it rather than try to stop it altogether.
And while a controversial approach, public health experts say we should keep an open mind.
From one perspective, the idea is that we are helping people who are caught in a position, and we are trying to help them be healthy. We're trying to help them to be safe with the hope that eventually they may seek recovery and treatment.
One major concern of the sheriffs is the type of people these sites could attract, including people looking to buy drugs. Reporting live from downtown Springfield, I'm Nikki McGee. Back to you.
Thank you, Nikki. Over the next 6 months,
Well, I hate to say this to y'all, but like every Friday, we have a little issue. I didn't get to hear all of that because I didn't get to hear that, but I had heard it before. But I'm going to assume that you heard what I heard before, and I know I saw what I saw. This is about the consumption piece, and let me just tell you something. If you are at home looking at this, I would really like for you to call in on this because I want to hear what people think as it relates to, people having somewhere they can come, and I'm going to use the word be supervised while they get high. That way, if they begin to OD, they got Narcan and other people on site that will be able to help them deal with the crisis. That's great, I guess. Now, I'm telling you something else you need to understand. They just did this thing with the reefer, and one of the things you need to understand about the reefer, in the first month, Illinoisans has bought over $32 million worth of reefer legally. And out of state has done bought over $8 million. So that's about $40 million worth of weed that's been sold in Illinois in the first month. The issue is this, for me. Weed on the street that you used to get from old boy, I'm talking about coloreds, Negroes, illegal weed has dropped 44%. The value on the street has dropped 44%. You see what they did? They just wiped you out. Just took all of your money. Just ripped you off. And then I made 40, and they done sold $40 million worth of weed. Woo! And the little weed you were selling, they got the statistics. You go find that for yourself. They show you how it was 1.76. Now it's done popped up to 7.5 something for 7.5 for them. For the weed on the street, done dropped. That's a hell of a trick. But anyhow, I understand we got a caller. We might come back to that. I just wanted you to know that. But before we go to the caller, let me say this here. Since they're making everything illegal, they're also discussing down in the city hall whether or not they should make this mushroom, this psychedelic, crazy LSD mushroom. Now they want to make that legal. And maybe next week we'll show you these 3 types of mushrooms. And some states have already decriminalized it. So the question is, why is the government trying to dope up the citizenry? Y'all need to think about it. Some of y'all keep running around talking about socialism and this and that. I don't know what's up with that. But there's something that these capitalists got in mind because they letting go too easy of what we have been told wasn't good for the society. Now you got your weed. Now you can go to the dope house and do heroin, and you can do all these other things. And that's why the show tonight is going to be sort of compact with serious, I think, information that can help you make better decisions than your emotions. Now let me see what the caller got to say. Yes, caller, speak on it.
Yeah, how you doing, Doc? Thanks for taking the call. Now, like I said once before, they try to blame Al Chopper, but Al Chopper ain't got nothing to do with it. It's the people in the media, the governor, and all the other politicians behind all that. And God gonna deal with them. Tell them like an Al Chopper up, they should like the J.D. Fisker and the people behind him. They should lock them up. Tell the Al Chapo, it's not Al Chapo.
All right, James, I hear you. Thanks for calling, man. I think a lot of times we need to just understand a thing or two. And one of the things about cannabis, at least in Joliet, what they did, they went on and unionized it. So now here, They didn't say how much money they ought to be making, but they talking about cannabis jobs, that's marijuana, that's weed jobs in Illinois, should be good union jobs. See, the union getting in on it. And there's another article here, but I ain't gonna dig it up, that says now the Italian mafia is beginning to make moves because, you know, they're supposed to be the original gangster from The Godfather anyway. So now, just who he was talking about, El Campo and them Mexican cartels and them Russians. So them Italian mafia said, whoa, wait a while, this belonged to us. When Al Capone was here, we didn't let y'all run nothing like that. And now that all of this weed and other stuff is becoming legal, we finna get back in the game. So we're gonna see in a minute what's up with all of this. But anyhow, until that minute get here, I want to tell you something. Yeah, we still got Narcan. Gonna always have it, as long as they got it out here and giving it to you to try to keep you alive. But if you need training, if you need Narcan, if you got somebody in your family, or somebody you know, somebody that OD and don't nobody else seem to know what's happening with them, call Mr. Lou Sayers at the Westside Heroin Opioid Task Force. His number is 773-378-4195. The email is westsidetaskforce@yahoo.com. Once again, the number is 773-378-4195, Mr. Lou Sayers. Email westsidetaskforce@yahoo.com. Now, I'm going to keep putting this number out here because Mr. Sayers is the outreach director. Now, the show we did last week, it had all of the elements in it. It had the governor in it. It had the president in it. It had LaShawn Ford in it. It had everybody there. So tonight, I know I can't duplicate that. So I ain't going to try to duplicate it. I'm going to just stay on script. And the script is from LaShawn Ford. He wanted us, me, and Cummins, Brad Cummins with the Voice newspaper, to collaborate with each other in the Westside Heroin Task Force to bring awareness through the vehicles that we use. That's the newspaper and this. So that's what we're doing. This is an effort, an initiative to bring awareness. Now we finna give you some pure dope awareness. Yes, sir, brother. Let's have the first video.
What's the address of the emergency?
My mom's on the floor, and my
Okay.
stepdad's basically pale and not waking up.
Both of your parents?
Yes,
So
yes,
both of your parents are not responsive? Is that what you're telling me?
yes.
Okay. We will have a medic en route with you very shortly. Do you know if they're breathing?
No,
No, you don't know if they're breathing or they are not breathing.
yeah, they're not breathing.
Okay, neither are breathing.
As soon as you do it, it's like a big blanket just goes over you. Everything just feels perfect, like your body don't hurt. You just feel like a new person. You don't think about the negative. You don't think about nothing. It's just nothing matters.
911, City Police, fire, or ambulance?
I need an ambulance. My mom.
Hold on.
My mom is choking.
Your mom is choking? How old is she?
Yes. She's 47.
Okay, how old are you? How old are you?
I'm 9.
You're 9?
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell me if she can breathe?
I don't know.
Is there anybody else there with you?
No, it's just me and my mom.
Okay, try and talk to her. Is she awake?
Oh no.
Is she making any noises?
Yes, she is. I need an ambulance, but she's changing colors.
She's changing color?
Yes.
Keep talking to her, okay?
Mom.
Don't let her fall asleep, okay? Just keep me on the phone.
Alright, Mom, wake up. Mom.
America's going through the worst drug crisis in its history, and is tearing families apart. A generation of children is being neglected, abandoned, or orphaned by parents addicted to opioids.
Someone I knew introduced me to heroin. And then before I knew it, it was to where if I didn't have it, I felt like I was gonna die.
Heroin is stronger than any human tie. It is stronger than any compelling argument. It is stronger than a religious belief. It is the devil incarnate. It is evil. It's the Black Plague. It's like the zombie apocalypse. It's death.
It's kind of like you're possessed or something. Like, you don't even care anymore.
To tell this story, we came to Chillicothe, a town in Ohio. The state has one of the highest drug overdose rates in the country. It seems like almost everyone here knows someone who struggled with drugs. Amanda Howard's addiction started with a prescription to Percocet for back pain. She later switched to heroin because it was cheaper and easier to get.
When you were on heroin and just had Brody, what was that really like?
Okay, like I would waitress all day, make my money, and instead of going home.
Now we're going to cut that piece, and the reason is this. We will continue the piece on another venue, but I got some videos and I'm looking at this clock and I want you to get a little taste of all of this because it's all connected. Now, that video had some elements in it, and I know some of y'all are real sensitive and you want to talk about what you see in the hood and what you see in your environment, but I want you to understand this here. These white folk here, that's why, all that money is coming. Hell, you've been having your granddaddy, great-granddaddy, grandmama, great-grandmama, the little kid's been born, everybody been doing something. They ain't did nothing to reach for you. So you need to see what's really driving this, because not only is it here, it's in the UK, and we're going to talk about that as time goes on because we got some more shows. But we are going to start bringing it. Last time we talked about brothers and sisters leaning out on the street, leaning almost to the ground and not falling. We all know that it happens. But now I want you to look at some of these other people so you can see people that go to work every day, they're struggling with heroin, struggling with opioids. Yeah, there's a piece we talked about with the mollies. We're going to deal with that real soon. But let's just do these videos.
An ABC News investigation tonight, the heroin epidemic in America. Tonight, this number. 129 people die every day in this country from a drug overdose. The vast majority related to pain pills or heroin. That's more deaths than from car accidents and from guns. Tonight, the Senate just passing legislation that would create grants to help local communities. And it comes just a day before our year-long investigation. Breaking Point Heroin in America, families sounding the alarm. And tonight here, your first look. In suburban neighborhoods across America, the calls are coming in.
An overdose.
All of them heroin overdoses.
41-year-old male in cardiac arrest. 69-year-old female. Possible overdose.
In Manchester, New Hampshire, we're there when a panicked driver calls 911 with what he finds at a busy intersection.
I got a white male, approximately 25 years old. He's blue in the face, so I need help now.
You can hear him trying to revive the young man. Across town, veteran medic Chris Hickey gets the call.
How quickly do you have to get there if there's a chance of saving this person's life?
Within the first 5 minutes.
He arrives to find the young man who authorities believe couldn't wait to get home from work, shooting up in his car. The panicked driver who called 911, a father on his way home from work. He tells us he gave that young man mouth to mouth because he knew what he was witnessing. It is everywhere, even in his own home.
Something, I lost my son to a drug overdose. Thank God I didn't have to do what I did for him. I miss him dearly. We need to do something. We have a problem in our country. We have to do something about it. Period.
Over the course of a year, we've met so many parents who never thought it would be their child. Sabrina Bembenek.
Spencer's world was football. The boy loved to play.
Doug Griffin.
Courtney was a lot of fun. She would bring a smile to everybody's face.
4 out of 5 new heroin users begin with prescription pain pills.
Spencer got hurt in a game.
The OxyContin.
We see there are no boundaries. Rich, poor, the middle class. Pills, then heroin.
Spencer switched over to heroin.
Heroin.
The police came to my door at 1 o'clock in the morning and said my son was gone.
And the children who see it in their own neighborhoods, some in their own home.
How many of you have seen the needles?
The emergency so great, 11 and 12-year-olds are now being taught how to administer naloxone, Narcan as some call it, to bring someone back from a heroin overdose. Incredibly eye-opening, and brave families allowing us into their homes for more than a year, and you will see what it's like for parents trying to help their children break free from heroin. I hope you'll join me tomorrow.
Yeah.
The St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Office is warning people about a dangerous new drug they're calling Gray Death.
News 10's Britt LaFaso explains the lethal drug is now showing up in Louisiana for the first time.
Officials are calling Gray Death a super drug. They say that if you even touch it, it could kill you.
The public recognizes a lot of the drugs that we deal with. This is a new one.
Gray Death is heroin that's been cut with fentanyl, according to the St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Office, and it is deadly.
Be aware of the color. Looks like chunks of concrete.
Spencer says Gray Death first started appearing in Alabama and Georgia in 2017. Then it moved to Ohio and Pennsylvania. Now deputies say it's here in Louisiana.
You don't even want to touch this if at all possible. You don't want to put it on your hands.
Officials say Gray Death is reportedly 10,000 times more potent than morphine. Just touching Gray Death could kill you.
You would really hate to see somebody innocent, touch this, not knowing what it is, or a child, to touch that, not knowing what it is. So we just definitely wanted to educate the public so that they know that, hey, this is a new thing.
Officials say that if you come across this drug, you should not pick it up or even touch it. Instead, you should report it to authorities. In Morgan City, Britt LaFaso, KLFY News 10.
Thank you, Britt. The first sample of Gray Death in Louisiana was recovered from suspects in the Lake Charles area who were traveling across St. Mary Parish. In a
Let me just say this. I wanted you to see that Gray Death. Something so bad that you can't even touch it. Now, it's already in Ohio, but we don't have the time to show you these two that connects the Chicago Heron Highway to the Cincinnati, Ohio Heron Highway. But I wanted you to see that just like this Gray Death is in Louisiana, that made it to Ohio, it's coming here. That's why it's good that LaShawn Ford and the Westside Heron Opioid Task Force and the governor has been able to put some things in place. This is a serious crisis we're looking at, y'all. A serious epidemic. But sometimes we just go along and pretend that everything cool. Well, at least we got some help in place. And I would imagine that as time go on, more partners will get involved in the Westside Heron Opioid Task Force. I know that 2 aldermen have already signed on to be co-chairs, or should I say chairpersons, in their wards to facilitate with their block club captains and others so we can get this done. I keep pushing it because it's important that we get the word out. But what I have to tell you, like I told you before, if you got any problems, need any help, call Lou Science. Lou Science 773-378-4195. Email Westside Task Force at yahoo.com. Until next week, we out.